It's time for book talking. Sometimes I just want to talk about general topics relating to books and have a discussion with everybody, so that's what this is. Today's book talking topic is to-be-read piles. So this topic was prompted by several things, but mostly by the fact that after my last book haul, my to-be-read pile was kind of out of control. I suspect that when a lot of people talk about their to-be-read piles, they're speaking figuratively, but I am not, and I think you know where this is going. Yep. The worst part is that those piles aren't even all of it. You see that polka dot tote right up there? Somebody in the comments of a video asked me literally yesterday about those piles and why I kept them over there when I clearly had empty space on my shelves, and I am genuinely shocked that they were the first person to ask this question. So my personal feeling is that bookshelves are for books that you have already read. I mean, there are exceptions. Like, I have this book on costume and fashion that I intend to use just as like a reference book, so I haven't read all of that. I also have a tendency to buy random used books that I don't intend to ever read that I just think are amusing. But generally speaking, I just don't like to put books on my shelves if I haven't read them yet, because to me it feels like a lie. I mean, if you're a person who puts books on your shelves when you haven't read them yet, then that's totally fine. I'm not like sitting over here silently judging you. Frankly, I should be congratulating you on not being a crazy person. So that's why they're in a pile over there rather than on my bookshelves. Now on to why there's so many of them. So basically, I have not lived inside of a library district for several years, and thus, whenever I find cheap books, I tend to purchase them. And subsequently, I have gotten really good at finding cheap books, so I tend to purchase them a lot. So I am just hoarding books like I'm preparing for a very specific apocalypse. So after my last book haul, I had 65 books in my pile, and I was sitting there trying to figure out what to read next, and I just couldn't do it. I was completely overwhelmed by choice, which has never happened to me before. I mean, in a way, it's good that that happened because now I know what my limit is. But yeah, I have come to the conclusion that I need to get this situation under control. It is a two-part plan. I have pulled several books from the pile and I'm going to get rid of them, which is really hard for me. You have no idea. But there are some books on there that I need to admit that I'm just not going to read. I mean, some of those books have been on the pile for so long that my tastes have completely changed since I bought them. I'm not going to tell you what I got rid of because I'm worried that somebody's going to try and make a case for them down in the comments, and then I'll be tempted to hold on to them, and I don't want to do that. I'll give you one example. This Dark is Rising box set has been in my family's possession for many years. I finally read Over Sea Under Stone back in February or March, and it took me forever. I had to slog through that thing, seriously. And it wasn't even that it was terrible, it just wasn't doing it for me, I guess? I don't know. And so afterwards I was like, okay, I will read the second one because that's the one that got the Newbery Honor, and we'll see how I feel about it then. But honestly, I've started to read the second one several times, and I read like a paragraph, and then I'm like, nah. Like, I need to just accept that it's not working for me and move on. And like, this was exactly what I needed to do. When I took them off the pile, I just felt so relieved, and I pretty much immediately started reading Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. So I think it's working out pretty well. There are still 55 books in the pile though, and that's really too many. So part 2 of this plan is a book buying ban. I know a lot of other people have done this before too. Danny Marks did it a while ago, I think. So ideally my goal would be to get my pile down to a point where everything can fit in the polka dotted tote, because that's why I bought it. But my goal for right now is to get the pile down to 40 books. That seems like a much more reasonable number for the pile to be, and also it's 15 books. I can totally do that. I could probably do that before the end of the year. So no book hauls for me for a while, which is kind of unfortunate because those are easily my most popular videos. So everybody, tell me about your to-be-read piles. Are you also a crazy person like me and have an actual pile? Do you mix them in with all your other books? Do you have a separate to-be-read shelf? Are you a reasonable person and don't buy your books faster than you can read them? I want to know. Leave comments and video responses. I am very curious about this subject. Also, I want you to make me feel slightly better about mine. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.